Tales of Herding Gods Episode 73. In the previous episode, Qin Mu found himself recovering from a near-fatal cultivation mishap. To regain his strength, he used an unusual method from the great educational Heavenly Devil Scriptures, the Spirit-Returning Pill Great Supplement Technique. A cultivation art that transforms food into pure energy. With the help of his companions, the little fox Hu Ling'er and the dragon Qilin, Qin Mu roasted a massive red dragon carp they had caught from Jade Dragon Lake, unaware it was a royal fish. Reserved for the emperor's banquets. Using the ambition tree, a sacred symbol of learning, as firewood only made matters worse. As the aroma spread through Imperial College, the students were stunned by his audacity. Yet while others panicked, Qin Mu simply enjoyed his meal, using each bite to restore his vitality and power. By the time his friend Wei Yong arrived, Qin Mu's body had already returned to full strength, stronger than ever. But this reckless feast, involving the emperor's prized fish and a sacred tree, was bound to cause trouble. And the story continues. A fox demon and a dragon-head lion is creating havoc in Jade Dragon Lake? Not only did they bathe in the lake, they even beat you up? That was how the chaos began. When Gu Linyuan, the newly appointed Grand Chancellor of Imperial College, returned from the palace, the Taoist guarding Jade Dragon Lake rushed to him, complaining bitterly. Gu Linyuan trembled in anger as he heard that the fish king of the red dragon carps had been captured by a dragon lion. Outraged, he suspected someone was trying to make him wear tight shoes, to deliberately cause him trouble just a month into his new post. But before he could process that, another report came. The fox belonging to academician Qin Mu, had chopped down the sacred ambition tree and used it to roast that very fish. The fish king of Jade Dragon Lake, Qin Mu, and another scholar, Wei Yong, were even caught cleaning up the bones to hide the evidence. Gu Linwan's anger turned into excitement. This was his chance to punish Qin Mu, the troublesome boy he already resented. Laughing, he gathered his men and declared they would arrest Qin Mu and Wei Yong, send them to the Temple of Justice, and execute their entire families for this capital crime. As he put it, "Who's making me wear tight shoes? Now these shoes fit just right." However, when he arrived at Scholar's residence, Qin Mu was gone. Only the dragon Qilin and fox were there. Upon questioning, the dragon Qilin lazily informed them that Qin Mu had been summoned to the palace. Gu Linyuan assumed the emperor had already learned of the offense and rushed eagerly to witness Qin Mu's execution. Before leaving, he ordered his men to arrest the fox and dragon Qilin. But when Gu Linyuan reached the palace, he was confused. Instead of a grim execution scene, laughter echoed through the imperial garden. There, Emperor Yangfeng was strolling with Empress Dowager, smiling and chatting, while Qin Mu stood beside them, entertaining the Empress Dowager with stories that made her laugh aloud. Summoned by the emperor, Gu Linyuan presented his accusation. He declared that Qin Mu's actions, catching and eating the royal fish, were a capital crime. Emperor Yangfeng turned to Qin Mu and asked calmly for his defense. Qin Mu admitted fault but explained he was ignorant of the capital's customs. Not realizing Jade Dragon Lake belonged to the royal family, he humbly accepted any punishment. The emperor replied coldly that, by law, this was a death sentence. Seizing his moment, Gu Linyuan urged that Qin Mu's entire family be executed. But before the emperor could speak, Empress Dowager intervened with a sly smile. She agreed that Qin Mu should be beheaded, but only to expose the emperor's folly. "If you kill him for a fish and some water," she said, "the world will know you value a fish more than a man. A drop of water more than a life." Her sarcasm made the point clear. Punishing Qin Mu would make the emperor look like a fool. Emperor Yangfeng laughed heartily and dismissed Gu Linwan's complaint. He told Gu Linyuan to stop bothering him with trivial matters and even scolded him for losing face previously when he failed to defeat Chancellor Ba Shan. Dejected and humiliated, Gu Linyuan could only obey. Before leaving, Qin Mu asked gently for the release of his fox and dragon Qilin. And the Empress Dowager, still amused, assured him that Gu Linyuan wouldn't dare refuse. As they continued their walk, She reminded the emperor that Qin Mu hadn't yet been rewarded for curing her illness. The emperor replied that Qin Mu already held a 6th rank title and was too young to be promoted further, at least for now. The Empress Dowager smiled and continued chatting warmly with Qin Mu. Meanwhile, Hu Ling'er stormed out of the palace, venting his frustration on the poor Taoist who had reported the incident in the first place. He ordered the immediate release of the fox and dragon qilin and furiously forbade any further action against Wei Yong. Realizing too late that Wei Yong belonged to the powerful Duke Wei's family, the entire affair had turned against him. Back in the Imperial Garden, Qin Mu checked the Empress Dowager's pulse and assured her she was fully recovered. As he prepared to leave, Emperor Yangfeng asked him to stay behind. When they were alone, the emperor revealed that he knew Qin Mu's true identity, not only as an imperial academician, but also as the cult master of the Heavenly Devil cult and disciple of the Jade Face Poison King. Qin Mu froze for a moment, realizing that nothing could be hidden from the emperor. Yangfeng smiled and teased, "The cult master of the #1 devil sect in the world. Now my student, surely this is both a fortune and a calamity. What do you think?" Qin Mu cleverly answered with a question. If the Tao master of Tao sect or Rulai of Great Thunderclap Monastery had yielded to the emperor, what rank would they receive? The emperor replied that each would be granted the highest titles, one as king, the other as primogenitor. Qin Mu then pointed out that although the Heavenly Saint cult was also a sacred ground and he had already pledged loyalty, the emperor had only given him a mere 6th rank position. If you treat loyal followers this way, Qin Mu argued, won't that disappoint the faithful and discourage others from yielding? Emperor Yangfeng paused, acknowledging the wisdom of Qin Mu's words. Yet, he said, promoting him too quickly might raise suspicion about his secret identity. Then he warned Qin Mu to be magnanimous toward Hu Ling'er. You've already made him wear tight shoes today, the emperor said with a knowing smile. Don't make things harder for him, it reflects on me. Qin Mu, pretending to be innocent, replied that he would never dare. The emperor dismissed him with reassurance. As long as he was willing to use someone, he would also protect them, just as he had done with Imperial Preceptor. Qin Mu bowed and left the palace, finally exhaling in relief. Now that both Emperor Yangfeng and the Imperial Preceptor knew his true identity, he felt secure. The greatest dangers were no longer hidden in the dark. Days later, Qin Mu's West House was filled with coins, profits from selling the dragon's saliva as a treasure. When Chancellor Ba Shan visited before setting out on an expedition, he took several bags of coins, and Qin Mu didn't mind at all. During this peaceful time, Qin Mu continued refining scarlet fire spirit pills and spirit Buddha pills, mystical medicines that emitted faint Buddha chants during creation. Soon after, news spread of a large-scale military exercise. Scholars were to accompany their mentors to the front lines to suppress a rebellion. Hu Ling'er, perhaps still harboring resentment, personally assigned Qin Mu to the expedition. He even gave him several low-ranking scholars to lead, students of the Five Elements realm. Talented but weak compared to true divine arts practitioners, their cultivations were far inferior to those in the divine arts residence. And that wraps up this episode. In this part, we saw how Qin Mu once again turned a crisis into an advantage through intelligence and composure. What began as a scandal involving a mischievous fox and a dragon qilin bathing and eating the royal fish in Jade Dragon Lake quickly spiraled into a political trap. Hu Ling'er, the newly appointed Grand Chancellor, seized the chance to attack Qin Mu, hoping to destroy him completely and prove his own authority. But what he didn't expect was that the Emperor and the Empress Dowager were already in high spirits, enjoying Qin Mu's company in the Imperial Garden. When Hu Ling'er arrived, ready to accuse Qin Mu of a capital crime, the entire situation shifted. Qin Mu admitted his mistake with humility, while Empress Dowager cleverly turned the argument on its head, showing that executing Qin Mu over a single fish would make the Emperor appear petty and foolish. Her words saved Qin Mu's life, humiliated Hu Ling'er, and revealed the deep political wisdom hidden behind the court's calm surface. Emperor Yangfeng laughed off the accusation and dismissed Hu Ling'er. Hu could only leave in shame and frustration. Afterward, the emperor called Qin Mu aside and revealed that he already knew his secret. Qin Mu was not only an imperial academician but also the cult master of the heavenly devil cult. Instead of punishing him, the emperor treated him with respect and curiosity, acknowledging both his power and his loyalty. Their conversation showed a subtle but growing bond of trust. The emperor saw Qin Mu as a valuable ally, while Qin Mu understood that his position was safer now that both Emperor Yangfeng and the imperial preceptor knew who he truly was. Returning to his peaceful life, Qin Mu continued refining powerful pills like the Scarlet Fire Spirit Pill and Spirit Buddha Pill, quietly preparing for the challenges to come. Yet, peace never lasts long for him. A new military expedition was announced, and Hu Ling'er, still holding a grudge, deliberately assigned Qin Mu to lead a small group of low-ranking scholars to the front lines. The stage was set for new adventures and greater trials. If you enjoyed this episode or found it interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the newest episodes following Qin Mu's extraordinary journey. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.